Hey everyone. This week's first chapter Friday is Gather by Kenneth Cadow. So, if you are into animals or realistic fiction, this is going to be a really great story for you. So, I will read the description because the first chapter here is pretty short. So, I want to be sure you understand where this novel is going. Ian isn't supposed to have a dog, but a lot of things that shouldn't happen end up happening anyway. And Gather, Ian's adopted pup, is good company now that Ian has to quit the basketball team, find a job, and keep an eye on his mom as she recovers from a back injury. Ian is great at a bunch of things that aren't graded in school. He can track a deer, fix a small engine, and rewire a vacuum cleaner in no time flat. He will do all that and more to keep his family afloat and to hold on to their land. When a shocking turn of events sends Ian and Gather on the run, Ian's got to pull all his practical skills to use. The stakes are high and the path forward looks tough, but if there is one thing Ian knows how to do, it's how to survive. So, chapter 1 is titled What You Notice, What You Say. You see people doing things they shouldn't. Sometimes you mind your own business. Other times you might say something, but it's hard to do that if you've just been caught red-handed yourself. Of course, Aunt Terry pulls her car right up on the lawn to get my mom close to the house. Gather lets out his little woof, and even as I'm shoving the propane heater, which I've had the sense to turn off, into the junk closet, I'm trying to figure out how to hide the dog. So I push the junk door shut with my foot and let Gather out at the back kitchen door, but he runs around and greets Aunt Terry with a big woof. At least he's friendly. She scruffles Gather's head. When'd you get the dog? He's a stray, I tell her. He's living out back in the shed. Ariadale? She asks. I'm like, what? I think he's got some Ariadale in him. Dog breed? I have no idea. I want to know about my mom a whole lot more than Aunt Terry wants to know about Gather. But it's the dog we talk about. She goes around to open the passenger side door and Gather follows her. He's one big dog, Aunt Terry says. Definitely not a St. Bernard, though. Still, looks like he might drool a bit. What's he eating? I've been bringing him scraps, I say. I'm pretty sure she doesn't have fresh needle marks, my mom, but there's gauze and tape on the back of her hand where an IV must have been. She's tired, but she's not high. I can tell that from her eyes. And then my mom says, "Hi, baby." "Give us a hand, Ian," Aunt Terry says. "Go easy. She's unsteady on her feet. She's finally had some work done on that bad back of hers." You can see Aunt Terry looking at my mom like this is the story she, meaning Aunt Terry, wants to feed me. But I know it's not true. I can't think of a good way to ask anything. My mom carried her own weight just fine. We were on either side of her, our elbows in our palms, and I held the screen door. First thing I see in the kitchen when we step inside is Gather's bowl on the floor. A little soup comes right up into the back of my mouth. If we fight about the dog being in the house, I know I'm going to make things much worse. He's been here, and she hasn't. Maybe he wasn't supposed to be here, but she was. "Do you want to sit on the sofa, Mom?" I ask, pointing to the living room, like it's someplace she's never seen before. Me? I'm just hoping she doesn't see the dog's bowl. Terry says it's a good idea, the sofa, and if either of them sees the bowl, neither says so. They didn't say anything either when they saw the needle right where they left it, and neither did I. I asked my mom if I could get her a glass of water, and she said yes. And when I was in the kitchen, I took care of Gather's bowl, made sure the heater hadn't caught the closet on fire, and poured the rest of my soup right down my own gullet. When I came back into the living room, the water and the needle were gone. And the dog's bowl was gone. I guess we had an agreement about saying nothing, but my whole mind was like mud season, trying to figure out how to get any traction on finding out about the last few days. Because here's how you have to think about it. Things might suck, but if you get people riled up, you're going to make it a whole lot worse. So much had happened with both the dog and my mom. I guess if there's one thing I learned from Aunt Terry that's worth remembering, it's just easier to talk about the dog. A dog that big is bound to get you into trouble worth telling about. So I'm going to back up a few days. All right. And from there, it does back up, and we get the story of how the dog came to be. We learn more about the mom situation going on in this home and what's been happening with her. So it is a good story. It's a realistic story. There are some hard parts in this story, but it is still going to be a really great read. So if you would like to read it, come by the library and check it out.